What's interesting, though, is that the day-to-day life that mortal Azerothians know wouldn't exist without Titan influence. So while heroes would not want to fight for the now of their goals, the endgame is not in favor, possibly nuanced. I don't know about that, actually. I believe mortal beings existed before the arrival of the Titans. I think the Titans took mortal beings, re-originated them, took their remaining soul essence, and used them to craft Titan Forged with stabilization matrices, which eventually fell out of stabilization. They destabilized, and they reverted to flesh. You guys should also know that the Titan Pantheon, in their records in Uldaman, openly admit that they have made flesh and biomass creatures on other planets. That is to say that what you know as the precursor to humankind is quite actually not the precursor to humankind. It is a stone man alteration of humankind, of mankind, in fact, which would suggest that, yeah, humans' mortal kind existed before the Titan Pantheon. And they've tricked you into believing that they were actually even remotely responsible for your creation, which I'm not sure is the case. It seems like mortal beings may have been born of something not of the Titan Pantheon, in my opinion, the Curse of Flesh not being their specific specialty, but something that they had access to somehow because they did it on other planets. How did they manage that? So, I understand the perspective of like, oh, we wouldn't exist without the Titans, but I'm actually not so sure that that's true. It just depends on what you see as like the world you want to live in, you know? What I'm describing is a world where you had gods that really took sacrifice, offering, those types of things from flesh and blood. The old gods that existed significantly before what we know as, you know, our modern history. And that the children of the first flesh, probably those that predate even the supposed corruption of the, you know, Forge of Wills, they're probably going to be a pretty important and big link to where flesh really comes from. And I think that the Titans have incorrectly, maybe in some ways, attributed flesh to a certain force that it doesn't belong to, which would be the void. And I think that flesh mortality is something actually more aligned along with death, believe it or not. Because what is it that, you know, what's the key about the Curse of Flesh? It's not really about flesh, it's about mortality. It's about having that flesh body, that mortal body, that mortal soul. And what does that allow you to do? You know, it allows you to die. It allows your soul to pass on. It allows you to, you know, tap into emotions and things that stone creatures cannot. You know, I don't think the Titans are capable of the level of empathy and compassion and love. Maybe they are, but not when they're made out of stone and all ordered, like the Titan Pantheon are. I don't think they're capable of it. Similar to Sylvanas in a way, you know? It's not an excuse, but why was Sylvanas such a bitch? Well, it's because her soul was fucking broken in half. Well, if I was a Titan, and I ordered my soul or ordered my body or anything like that and bound myself to a fucking code of temperance, then, you know, I might not have the opportunity to feel those kinds of emotions anymore. And that could be what separates Sargeras from the other Titans, is his capacity to feel certain emotions that they otherwise are incapable of. And maybe that's part of why the dichotomy between the two of them exists as forces in the cosmos. One of change, and one of stagnation. And while it might appear at first glance to be a noble pursuit on behalf of the Titans, I don't think that trying to... Look, I still think that ANR is very sus. I think that there's still a chance that there's some powers that she wants that she doesn't have. And I think that there's only one place to get them. And that's from creation herself. So I'm still kind of in that mindset sometimes that ANR is a usurper goddess. And seeks to steal the power and station of Azeroth. Wouldn't be the first time. And it'd be a unique way to take life, which has had a very clear bias toward it by the Titan Pantheon, as they've sworn oaths to protect life whenever possible. ANR even vocally reminding Sargeras of this herself in the Chronicle story. Just kind of seems like, why, you know, I guess I can understand it initially of like, oh yeah, let's protect life, but as beings of order, you should understand that that's not how that works. You're supposed to be able to, like, if your station is order, and really, I don't know, it just depends on how you define order, right? If order is control, no. You can't just pick one cosmic force and be like, oh, this is the good one. This is the one we should all go for. Because what you have to realize is that you literally do not matter as a living being if you don't die. You understand? And what I mean by that is, initially, immortality is fun. Yeah, I'm sure initially it's pretty cool. Until you're like tens of thousands of years old and all your fucking friends are dead. Or no one dies ever, you know? And you turn up like the Aya from Final Fantasy and you're like hyper depressed because you guys can't figure out what to do with yourselves because you've done everything that you could possibly think to do. And now you're just so depressed that you just fucking, you know what I mean? Immortality is not fun. This is why you get the quote from the old gods like Il'gynoth, the pain of flesh is fleeting, which means it's quick, it goes fast, it's nothing. True torment lasts forever. That's a pretty big hint at the nature of the curse of flesh, at the old gods. It's a hint towards, you know, eternal imprisonment, whether it's in the confines of an immortal body, whether it's literally locked in a prison of stasis. Illidan can relate to that. It's no way to exist. You don't want to exist that way. I'd rather die 1,000 deaths than be forced to live forever. You know?